I thought this video would be interesting, the female perspective and why she's alone for anyone who has no friends. Let's go.
I'm making this video because I wanted you to know that you're not alone.
Oh,
Today is Labor Day holiday. I spent the day alone at home. It
okay.
is kind of become the norm for me these days to stay home alone. I never really accepted this until recently, maybe like 2 months ago, because I always thought that even if the old one leave, I could make new friends. It's been a journey to
Okay.
accepting, that's for sure. This doesn't mean that you are unlikable or that you're weird or that something's wrong with you. It really is just life and things happen. And my philosophy is that we just have to figure out a way to course correct and how to fix it. So I know one of the main reasons
Hmm.
has to do with
Okay.
life changes over the past few years. I used to be in the nightlife industry. Yes, I was a bottle
Okay.
girl. I worked in that industry for years. I was always in the clubbing scene, always partying, always going out. So naturally, I had a lot of girls that
So
I was
what's that
close
like?
with. Then I went to nursing school at the beginning of 2016. It was so hard and I had no time. I had to get rid of a lot of the things in my life at that time. No more partying, no more hanging out. It sucks, but I had to prioritize studying. And I know that a lot of people got mad at
Good.
me and they felt like they weren't important anymore. But at that point, I felt like I had to do what I had to do because failing
You have to
nursing school
prioritize
was
your
not an
life.
option for me. So I cut everything out and I did lose a lot of friends at that point. And that might be a thing that's happening to you. Maybe you're pursuing goals or maybe you're doing things and you can't hang out. Maybe you start a new family and you have to prioritize your family. Maybe you are starting a business. That's work. And you don't
It
have
is.
time to be hanging out and doing the same things you used to do. And on the note of people drifting away, also includes people moving away. I have a really good friend who moved to California and we sort of lost touch. One of my best friends moved back to Ukraine. Yes, you heard me right. Back to Ukraine. Another reason why I don't have friends right now is because I have intentionally removed people from my life. Somebody once told me if you don't have friends, it's a red flag. So guess what I was doing? Hanging on to friends that I don't like just so I wouldn't be a red flag.
Yep. Man, not having friends is a red flag. Okay. Okay.
Just so I wouldn't say
Well,
that I
that's
don't have friends.
that's not good because now you're creating friendships based off some superficial reason, right? You're not genuinely making friendship. It's better genuine friendship. Sorry, I've been talking for like over an hour already. But it might be better for you to have no friends than to have 10 fake friends. You feel me? But I feel like we already know this. Like people say this all the time. Having fake friends is like, what's the point? Like, I don't know, but like, of course, it's human nature to want some type of you want to have some type of community, right? That's totally normal. Nothing wrong with it. But to build your community based off false pretenses only leads to disaster. So it's probably not worth it to have these five friends that aren't your real friends for some type of, fake reason than to have no friends at all. If you don't have any friends, then you don't have any friends. It just is what it is.
That's not really a good or healthy situation either, right? And as
True.
hard as it was, you give people chances over and over and over. But how many times are you going to let someone burn you? I'm not saying you should cut people off, okay? But as far as close friends who are calling
Well,
you
I
every
will.
day, I'm a big believer in protecting your space, protecting your energy, and not being around negativity or toxic people. People are going to have problems and they're going to come to you, and you can be a support system for people and a source of strength. That is
Nothing wrong with that.
completely normal, completely okay. However, if every single time we get together, it's negative or it's drama. I had a friend, and one of the main things that did it for me, she was dating a guy for 3 years.
You got to continue what you're talking about before you spin off into these stories, ma'am. Because you was about to go into some type of point where I feel it probably would have been beneficial, but now we've spun off into another story. You got to keep it on the straight and narrow. And this is why I don't do any more editing because I can get when you're looking back and you're trying to edit and you're trying to cut shit out. Sometimes you end up cutting stuff out that actually might be beneficial to the audience that you're creating your videos for.
Okay, in a relationship with this man for 3 years. And she's like, oh, I don't like him, like he's not that attractive, he's ugly, but his cousin is cute and sexy and younger. This girl calls me. She wants to know how to break up with her man so she could date his cousin. I'm not even kidding you. And I was like, what? This is not a conversation like we don't have the same values. And the people that's in her life and the decisions that she makes, I don't agree with. So I just distance myself.
That's
It's
fine.
not necessarily a red flag that you don't have friends. You could just not want to be around the people that you used to be with anymore.
That's normal.
The thing about not having friends, though, is that if it does turn into a long term situation, it can end up being really bad. As humans, we do need social connections, we do need social bonds, and we definitely need a support system. As I was preparing for this video, I was reading about social isolation, and it turns out that it increases your chances of dementia by 50%, stroke by 32%, and heart disease by 29%. And that's very dangerous and very scary. Okay, let's talk about action steps. What can we do right now to get through this phase? I'll share with you two things I'm doing right now, one thing that I plan on incorporating later. The first thing that I'm doing right now is I found something new to work on, and I'm gonna try to master it as much as I can. To me, this is sort of a distraction-free period that I'm going through. That's how I look at it. I look at it like a game. I have the next few months, no distractions, meaning that there's no one calling me to hang out. I don't have to do this obligation or that obligation. There's no one calling.
Remember, you're not obligated to do anything for your friends, for your family, even for your work. You're not obligated to do anything in life. The only reason why we do these things is because we have social constructs in our mind that lets us know if we do not do these things, there will be social repercussions. And if it's your job, well, then, hey, there's economic repercussions for that as well. But you are never obligated to do anything. Every human should remember that before you're like, oh, if I don't do this, this will happen. Okay. But also think of the positives. If you don't do it, that might give you more peace of mind, or you might be able to follow a goal that you are actually interested in pursuing versus doing something else that somebody might have more interest doing. But if it doesn't really interest you, then hey, don't do it. You don't need to do it. You're not obligated to do anything. Remember this. This will keep you strong.
Me to spend hours on the phone or anything like that. So right now is a perfect time to either learn something or start something or pick something up that you wanted to do. For me, I just started this YouTube channel, and I'm just looking at it like this is a time for me to build my business. This is time for me to go hard and grow and learn as much as I can. And for you, what does that mean? Is there something that you've always wanted to do? Like, let's say I wanted to learn to be a really good cook. If I could afford it, I would take an actual class. If I couldn't, or if I didn't want to spend the money, I would still treat it like a class. I would get a notebook. I always get a notebook for everything that I'm starting or learning.
That's a
And
good
I
idea.
would, let's say, set
Journaling.
aside 3 hours a day, every day or every other day. And I would sit down, I would learn, I would watch a bunch of YouTube videos, read a
Yep.
bunch on it,
There you go.
study, 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 write notes. In the
That's
next
good.
4, 5, 6 months, I'd master it. Do you want to get back in shape? Treat it like a class. Get a notebook, sit down 3, 4 hours a day, not even really in the gym, just learning about food and educating yourself about biology and how all these things work. That's what I would do with my time. Really just treat it
I
like a
mean, it could work.
distraction free
Sure.
period where you can get a lot of things done. The second
But I get the gist that you enjoy just writing stuff and writing stuff down, which is nothing wrong with that. But there's other ways to try and fill your 3 to 5 hours besides just journaling. Like if you want to get in shape, 3 to 5 hours of journaling about and learning about biology and stuff like that, that's not bad. But 3 to 5 hours is a long time. You could have gone to the gym for 1 hour and you could have still had time to do some more journaling afterwards. People do that already, right? It's called your personal goals. If you want to lose weight, here are the exercises you need to do. Write them down. Boom. This is what I need to do. Cardiovascular exercises so I can burn my body fat. and then go to the gym and then do it. If you want to work on your diet as well, what are the foods do I need? There are several channels out there that already have done the research for you. You don't need to do the research yourself. For specifically working out, I advise you check out Jeff Nippard. He is the scientific master when it comes to working out. He has done all the science you would ever want to need to do, right? He's figured out the fruits and the vegetables, he's figured out the exercises, he's trained relentlessly his lifetime, right? So you don't need to do that. There are people that have already done things that you want to do. You can learn from them. Mentorship is something that every human should strive for. You don't need to do the grunt work. There's already been a grunt that's done it for millennia.
Second thing that I'm doing is really looking at why. Why am I in a
Self
situation
assessment.
where I don't have
Self assessment should be the first thing that you do. Figuring out what your pros and cons are, your weaknesses and your strengths. Self assessment is always the first thing you do. It should never be second.
close friends or close bonds or close relationships? But not to be sad about it, but to figure out what's the cause of it and what effect is it having on me. And I don't mean looking at why as in it's society and younger people nowadays, we have all this technology and we're disconnected and our attention span is short. There's some truth to that, but I think we should look internally and not blame others. Whenever something's going on, yes, I look outside, but I also like to look at me, like what's my role in it, how can I be better? So that's what I'm encouraging you to do. I know for me, I think that my main reason is that I don't really know how to build those deep bonds that people have. I don't really know how to maintain those deep connections.
To do that, you need more introspection, man. You need to go learn about yourself. You need to meditate, sit somewhere and think about what your pros and cons are. What are your flaws? And it's okay. We all have flaws. Maybe you don't like one thing about you. You don't have to just look at that one thing. What are other things that you do like about yourself? And you need to figure out what those strengths and weaknesses are. And then you apply it to whatever connections you are trying to make in life, right? So, like you said, you were a bar girl or a bottle girl, right? So, obviously, you've been in the party scene for a while. What made you want to stay in the party scene for so long? What made you want to leave to pursue getting an education in medicine? What are these things that make you who you are in your experiences? So when you were a bottle girl, were you doing it because you like to party, or were you doing it because you like having the social connections? Did you like it because maybe you met celebrities? Did you like it because you get to wear attractive outfits? What are these things that make you do what you do? There's something deeper besides I like it, right? What is the reason why you like these things? What is the reason that made you pursue medicine and made you not want to quit? Did you not quit medicine because you don't like quitting, or did you not quit medicine because you enjoy the pursuit of medicine? Right? There are different versions and reasons of these things. So before you can build a deep connection with other people, you need to find that deep connection within yourself. And then within that deep connection, you can latch on to the other deep connections that other people have and find some type of similarity. This is why I hang out with this person. This is why I like this person. This is why me and this person talk, even if we don't necessarily agree on everything, which is fine. What is the reason why I keep that connection? If you don't know what that is, then yes, your connections are probably going to fall apart, because if you can't figure it out, then that other person might figure it out for you, and they might figure out the wrong thing. They might have some other notion about you, but since you don't know who you are, you can't agree or disagree, which in turn leads to them maybe separating from you, or you separating from them, because you don't even know why you enjoy hanging out with this person, right? What was the reason why you were hanging out with that one girl that was trying to like leave her boyfriend for his cousin? Obviously there was something inside of you that was like, oh, we should have this type of connection, or we should be talking. What made her think, hey, I should go to her because she'll give me the exact information I'm looking for to break up with somebody to get with their cousin? These are the things you need to figure out. And I think you can do it. You just need more introspection.
most of my friendships are surface levels. And maybe that's why they don't last. And this isn't me blaming myself. I've come to this conclusion because it sounds really strange, but I sort of raised myself. It was my mom, my
Okay.
sister, and I. And my mom, her job was to work in another person's home, so it required
That's
living with
adorable.
them. So she lived in a big city, and it was just my sister and I. Now my sister's 10 years older than me, so when I'm
Okay.
8, she's
Bro,
18.
oh man, this is definitely old school, man. This is so old school. I remember, oh man. You know what? I'm gonna keep it to myself, and we'll talk about this. We'll put it in the bookshelf, and we'll put it in the bookcase. We'll put a bookmark in it because if I say what this photo reminds me of, you might just feel old.
So she's out with her
So I'm
boyfriend,
gonna
with her
keep it
friends.
moving.
I don't blame her or anything like that. I just always remember being alone and going to bed
Okay.
alone. And I moved to
Okay.
United States to live with my dad in middle school. And my dad, he worked these long hours. He would leave at 5 a.m. in the morning and come home at like 10, 11 p.m. I'm not even making this up. Is he working this whole time? I don't know. But I just remember being alone a lot. And I think that had something to do with it. I sort of learned how to just be by myself. Truly, deep down inside me as a person, I don't know how to really connect deep. I don't
Okay.
know how to have conflict.
And you know what's funny? I since I've recently dove into these types of videos, right? These are always advice videos, but always like the advice stops around like this level. Like around here, this is when it stops, and then it starts becoming more personal. And then people start letting out their inner issues and their traumas. You know, I don't see anything wrong with it, but it's definitely interesting for me because I get to sit here and make a reaction video that you might watch, and I'm like, here, this is the issues that I can see, right? From being armchair therapist, literally, right? I'm sitting in a fucking armchair, an armchair therapist is like, oh, this is why, this is why, this is why. But a lot of the answers that I can see is just people lacking the introspection. They don't know themselves. And to know yourself, you need to take time for that. It takes a long time for that. It's not something you can figure out in a day. It's not something you can figure out in a week. Maybe you can figure it out in months, but even then, it's quite difficult. Let's continue though.
And then the next day tell someone you love them. You know how siblings, they'll fight and then the parents will make them make up in a corner or whatever? I never had that. Again,
Okay.
it's not an excuse, but it's just something that doesn't come
No, it's just
naturally
what
to me.
happened.
I think this is the root cause. So the effect is that I don't know how to build those bonds. I don't have the skills to build deep relationships.
Okay.
That's probably why I don't have friends.
But are you working on it? Are you working on it? Lack of relationship building skills. You can build relationships anywhere you go. You can build relationships with anybody. You just need another human being and you can build relationships with them. Whether physical or online, you can build relationships with people. The real I'm gonna tell you this. This is the secret because there's always a secret, right? The secret when it comes to trying to build these relationships is not giving up. Okay, if you get in an argument with somebody or you get in a disagreement with somebody, the first thing, at least what I've noticed other people do, is they want to throw away the whole friendship like it never mattered, or throw away or like the connection. They burn the bridge. You don't need to do that. Sure, you don't sure you don't agree on a couple things, and sure you may have an argument. That doesn't mean you have to stop conversing, right? So to build relationship skills, you need to go through the issues that comes with any relationship with any human being. There there are very few humans that can get along on a deep level almost immediately, right? The only way that really happens is if they really understand who they are. So two people that understand themselves and they start talking to each other and they say, "Hey, boom, we agree on a lot of stuff. Maybe we don't agree with this and this, but that's okay because this is what I think and that's what you think. I'm not going to change your perspective, nor am I trying to. That needs to be congruent with the person you were talking to. You don't want to change their perspective. You don't want to change your perspective, but you should look at yourself whenever the conversation is, whatever the argument is. What is the argument? What is it based off of? Are you hearing each other's thoughts? Are you feeling what each other are thinking, right? How can you do this? How can you feel their thoughts? Well, by talking to them, looking at their body language as well. If someone tells you one thing but their body language tells you another thing, obviously there's a miscommunication somewhere. Where is that miscommunication? And if you're willing to just say, well, I'm not interested, and you just walk away from it, some people say, hey, that's protecting your peace. But obviously, you're not living a peaceful life because you can't figure out why you have no friends. You can't figure out, what's keeping you from growing or creating deep relationships, as you say in your video. You cannot form anything beyond surface level. You can't do that because you don't understand yourself. When you understand who you are as a person, you will understand what values you enjoy about another human being. You get it? You get me? If you don't get me, it's okay. There's a comment section. Let's continue.
Have the skills to build deep relationships. That's probably why I don't have friends. What's your why? It could be that you moved around a lot and wasn't able to form any solid friendships, or you just moved to a new city and you don't know anyone, or maybe someone hurt you really bad and now you don't trust people easily.
I've done all of these. I've done all of these and I've come out fine. You can too, right? Move a lot. Me and my mom would, because my mom and my father got divorced. Me and my mom would move to a different uh city every 2 years. So every 2 years, I was the new kid. I was also bullied because I was always the new kid. I've been hurt before. Everybody's been hurt, so that's nothing. That's not really a, you know, it's a reason, right? Definitely, being bullied and being hurt. There's definitely levels to it, right? Some people have been hurt so bad they can never trust another person. Period. Right? That's okay. That's normal. But you have to think about it. How can you go through life and expect not to get hurt? You don't want to get hurt again. Not everybody, nobody wants to get hurt, but living life comes with pain. That is something you must accept. If you cannot accept it, if you run from it, if you avoid it, you will get nowhere. It'll lead you back. Like and it doesn't matter how much introspection you go through. Blah 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 blah. This happened. This happened. I'm growing. But I never want to be hurt again. So you will always have some type of boundary that you will never let anybody cross. And whenever you feel this longing, like, damn, I don't really have true friends. I don't have anybody I can say really knows me. Well, yeah, they don't know you because you decided to put up a wall. And it's okay. We all have a wall, and it's okay. It's selective who you let over that wall. That's understandable. But to expect yourself to come over somebody else's wall, you need to be willing. You have to willingly let others climb over yours as well. But that's the lesson that's all I have to teach. Let's continue with the video.
Or maybe you were bullied, which lowered your confidence. There are many reasons, but it's good to figure out why so that you can work on it in your own time. Now that I have this information, I can work on building the skills. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
How does this make you feel? Does it make you sad? Does it make you angry? Is it frustrating? Are you content? Is it a relief to not have anyone around? The third thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk to someone. Worst case scenario, at least you get all this stuff off your chest, which I think is very, very important. Just let it out. Speak to someone who will listen to you, who won't judge you. Being alone and being by
Remember, you will always be judged. Maybe it won't be external, but you will always be judged. Humans judge, and that's okay. I think we need to accept the fact that other people will judge us, but just because you're being judged doesn't mean someone isn't willing to help, right? I judge people all the time, but that doesn't mean I'm not willing to help them. But that's just me. There are other people that will judge you and don't give a damn about you. They just like judging you because they have some issue that's deep within inside them and they don't want to explore it. Some people are willing to explore it, some people are not. It just comes down to the individual.
yourself. Yeah, we might play it off like it's cool, but it can ultimately affect your mental health and we have to protect ourselves. So I recommend getting ahead of it before it gets there. You might already be in that space where you're sad, or you might not. By the way, there's one thing that I do that helps me so much, and it's giving. There's just something about it that makes me feel so happy on the inside. I'm making a video coming up about how I give and creative ways to give, and even when you don't have a lot of money. So subscribe, and
Sounds like an interesting
that video
video.
will be coming up soon.
Cool. I might just check it out. But yeah, that's the video for anyone who have no friends. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. It's been KhunShawn. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.